Not a lot of people are enamoured of Westminster politics. People not near us are making the decisions. I'm the anti-establishment candidate and the incumbent mayor with a track record, and that's going down really powerfully. Hello, I'm Jamie Driscoll, the North of Tyne mayor, the independent North of Tyne mayor.
Do you want to talk me through a little bit of that? So why are you an independent?
I've been the Metro Mayor for, 4.5 years now. I've created thousands of jobs, good trade union terms and conditions. I've levered in stacks of money. We do child poverty prevention. We have a fantastic record on green energy and dealing with the climate emergency. And then I've negotiated a wider North East deal, getting billions in for transport. And the Labour Party says you're not allowed to run for it. People in your region are not allowed to vote for you. And I said, well, I'm not having that. I'll run as an independent. And the people in the region are saying, glad that we've got someone putting the North East ahead of party politics.
Let's talk about that transport funding then. So what does that mean?
So at the moment, the buses are totally unregulated. Private buses will run them, but only if they can make a profit, obviously. And the ability to integrate anything so you can get a ticket, the way you can in London, across the bus, across the tube, that doesn't exist in the North East. So I've now got us the powers where we can do that after the election in May next year. It's a £4.3 billion deal altogether. Just negotiated an extra 1.8 billion off government. It's over a period of 7 years in total, but you've got to start somewhere. And that will allow me to have extra metro lines, to have a much better bus service. So, I mean, there's towns in the North East where there's no buses after 6 o'clock. And people are kind of trapped, and it means they can't get work or can't get education chances that they otherwise would. So it's all of that. And also I want to be developing car clubs and active travel so people can get the bikes, and then people actually have a choice. It's up to them whether they own a car or not. Now that's good for the climate emergency, it's good for the economy, and it's good for motorists because every bus takes 50 cars off the road. So there's less traffic congestion for everyone too.
How will that work payment-wise? Will you try and work out a payment that is affordable to everyone?
I'm going to do it so that once you've spent a certain amount over the year and you hit the cap, and I haven't worked out that exact figure yet, then that's it. The rest of your year's transport is free. So it's a really innovative way of doing it. So people don't think at the start of the year, can I afford a season ticket, can't I? And then halfway through the year, they think, well, I've already spent some, so it's not going to work. And it's just the sensible way to do it. We do that with so much of the commerce these days, sort of pay-as-you-go stuff. And then you get unlimited minutes free on your phone. Well, why can't we do that with transport? It's sort of, we've got to get into the 21st century, right? And the other thing I'll do is I'll make transport free for under 18s. So if you've got a load of kids, that's a big deal when it comes to child poverty. But it also guarantees long-term success of public transport. Because if you've only ever been dropped off at school in a car, it doesn't occur to you that you can get around on the buses and go out for a drink at the night and all that sort of stuff. So, it really will change the vibe and the culture, particularly of the outlying rural areas, and it'll connect them in a way they've not been for, forever.
Let's talk about child poverty. So just recently, Sadiq Khan introduced free school meals for all primary school children in London. Is that a project that you'd like to do in the North East?
I would love to do that. There's a different set of powers in London, so I can't actually do that. What we're already doing, and we're now into our second year of it, is our child poverty prevention programme. We run that in schools right across the North East, or the North of Tyne. And this is poverty-proofing the school day, making sure there's no school uniform poverty. And little things like, World Book Day, great, but kids are dressing up in costumes, you only get worn once. A lot of parents are really anxious about that, having to go online and buy a costume, they can't afford it, and then other kids are feeling, my little one's sticks out. So what they do, the schools have changed it. They bring in a local author, they share books, instead of dressing up, and some might say that's better for literacy. It kind of makes sense. So there's loads we're doing on that already.
You sound like the cost of living mayor.
The cost of living mayor, I like that, Ava. Yeah, maybe we'll go with that.
How's the campaign looking?
Really strong. There's a couple of things. I mean, not a lot of people are enamoured of Westminster politics. And in the North East, famously Brexit voting area, that was nothing ever to do with Europe. That was people not near us are making the decisions, and that's what people feel now. I have people stopping me in the street saying, Jamie, I've donated to your crowdfunder. I'm going to vote Labour because I want the Tories out, but I'm not convinced they're going to do much for us. I'm going to vote for you. So I'm in this strange position where I'm the anti-establishment candidate and the incumbent mayor with a track record, and that's going down really powerfully.
Sells. How's it going down with the Labour Party?
With Labour Party members, there's loads of them guerrilla campaigning for me because they would get expelled if they were found out. I've had Labour councillors saying, I'm going to vote. One Labour member said, I'm going to campaign for the Labour candidate. And when I get the leaflets, I'm going to put them in the recycling. But you know what? I've had messages from Lib Dems, from Tories and all the rest of it saying, look, you've done a good job as mayor. You will stand and fight for us. As long as it doesn't affect Westminster politics, I'll vote for you.
All of your policies and your campaign seems to be focused, as I said, on cost of living. But if we look back at the Conservative Party conference that took place last weekend, a lot of that was to do with the culture war. How much cut through do you think that has?
You know what? I'm not sure it has that much cut through. Everyone I talk to, the way I describe my politics, I say Britain should be run in the interests of the people who do the work. No labels, just that. And everyone says, yeah, actually that makes sense to me. And, you know, it doesn't matter, gay, trans, black, white, whatever it might be, people all have the same problem when it comes to, can I get a reliable job? Can I afford my home? If I've got kids, can I afford to put food on the table? And that trumps everything else. The culture wars is just a distraction from it. But, you know, in my case, my dad was a tank driver in the army. I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So all the people who look at those sorts of things, they say, well, isn't that the kind of strong leader thing that we want as well?
That was just a bit of shameless promotion there.
It was, yeah. I'm standing for election. I get that you've got to promote growth and be good with value for money, and I do that, and I've got a track record of it. But what I want to hear from the Labour Party is we will end destitution within 5 years, because so many people are using food banks, working people, worried about their rent, worried about, you know, the debts their kids are getting at university. Go out and say destitution does not belong in a rich country, and you'd win the election overnight.
Brilliant.